Yeah, so the Suns and Durant's team sifting through trade scenarios.
A good thing they gave up everything to get him, and now we're trying to desperate to get anything back in return. I will be interested to see what he brings back because, dude, Kevin Durant can still play, but he's also, I think, like 37 years old.
That's the question I have about him is like he's clearly still an elite scorer and one of the best scoring threats in the league, but can he shoulder the role of like a true one, or how much does he need somebody else
Yeah,
to
he'll
do
be
it with him?
37 at the start of the season. And look, the last two stops in Brooklyn and Phoenix have netted jack crap. So obviously he can't carry you. But if you look at the teams that are interested, I don't think he's being asked to carry. I think he's being asked to be the piece that kind of maybe puts it over the
Sure.
So
puts it over the top.
there were 5 teams according to Shams. Is it Shams or Shams?
I thought it was Shams.
Shams. Okay. Spurs, Rockets, Knicks, Timberwolves, and Heat.
Yeah.
But he also said there are a few wild card suitors.
Well, what I don't understand, like the Miami one, like what are you doing? Like
They might be kind of desperate.
I guess, but like, what are you? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. For Kevin Durant, other than if you just want to go to Miami and I don't know, be on South Beach for the remaining couple years of your career, be my guess. But if you're actually trying to go and write the last chapter to your story, the rest of that makes sense.
Where
Like,
would you go if you're him? Knicks? You could probably pick your coach.
Yeah, again, a lot of it depends on. Well, they don't. Apparently, they can't because they're just trying to get a coach. By the way, I would like to point out that I've had Tenny to the Fan turn down the New York Knicks and their ability to talk to me to be their next coach. Like, how many teams can turn them down? Like, all they're doing is asking, like, "Hey, can we go talk to your sitting coach?" And everyone's like, "Yeah, no, go away." A lot of it depends on what you have to do to get him. If it's just draft capital, but if you take this New York Knicks team as constructed, I know Durant doesn't necessarily help you on the defensive end of things, but I mean, you would assume a team that went that far and you add someone like Kevin Durant, they can still give you 25 a night without blinking and can still rebound and play some defense. I would think that is a big deal. Minnesota has been to the conference finals twice, and then San Antonio, I think, is the most interesting one. But again, I would assume that that's probably a couple years away that he may not have. So San Antonio, no. Miami, no. Houston, you're the number 2 seed, and all Houston needs is kind of maybe that guy. I would say if you're looking to kind of write the story, I would think Houston is the one that I think is really, really intriguing. And Minnesota and New York both make sense. But San Antonio and Miami, to me, I don't get that. Because ideally you have 2 years of this Kevin Durant, which is a diminished but still a very good Kevin Durant. I think you have to go to somewhere where it's win and it's win now. And that doesn't seem San Antonio and certainly doesn't seem Miami. Minnesota, New York, and Houston. Houston with the great regular season, and then Minnesota and New York are coming off conference finals. Minnesota coming off back-to-back conference finals.
Well, they're expecting a trade before the draft, which is June 25th.
Yeah.
So it will come soon.
Well, like,
and we'll freak out about it.
I want to look and see what the Phoenix was because it was like 5 picks.
Yeah, it was a lot of ones in there.
Yeah. So I mean, they got an absolute S-ton. So
we thought that was a great deal when it happened.
Yeah. So there was Kevin Durant and T.J. Warren, and the Nets got Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, and 4 unprotected first-round picks and a 2028 pick swap. So
and
5
did they then give up Bridges for 5 more first-round picks?
Yes. That was so. Then they dealt Bridges to
New York
for 5 picks.
Yeah.
So yes, the Nets are sitting on
They turned Kevin Durant into 9 picks.
Yes.
It's a lot of picks.
So I'll be interested to see what Phoenix gets back in return because Phoenix has been gutted.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So I mean, you gave up everything. You took the swinge, didn't work out, and now we'll see what you can get back. You ain't getting 4 ones back.
But they don't have a lot of like what's the word? Like they just don't have a lot of leeway to make a lot of moves, right?
No.
Like they've got a lot of salary on the books. They got Beal,
and they don't have very much draft capital to offer anybody else.
No. So I mean, this is kind of it.
So I tell you what, though, when they started that whole thing, putting Durant with Booker and
Yeah.
made the that was like, ooh, watch
Yeah.
out for Phoenix.
Yep.
And boy, what a flame out that was.
Beal's been a disaster.
Well, and that's kind of my thing with Durant. Be careful. Kevin Durant is great, and I'm not saying Kevin Durant is the reason why any of this has failed, but Kevin Durant, since leaving Golden State, has picked his spot. And he teamed up with stars in Brooklyn, and it went nowhere. I remember he had the one big toe moment, but it went nowhere in Brooklyn. And then he picked his spot going to Phoenix and teamed up again with another star and another supposed star in Bradley Beal, and it went nowhere. It was an absolute disaster. So I don't know. I wonder what at this point Kevin Durant means, unless he just is the cherry on top and you're allowed to drop him into a team that doesn't have to gut itself.
Well, he's instant offense.
Yes.
But what's the price you pay for that?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
And he's such an enigma because we've talked about this before, but
he doesn't necessarily come and galvanize your locker room.
No, exactly.
Like, maybe just the opposite.
What is his legacy? Like, I don't know what to do with Kevin Durant on a lot of levels. And I think a lot of people are the same way.
Kevin Durant may be the most talented scorer the NBA has ever seen. No one, I think we've said this before. I don't believe anyone has done more self-harm to their legacy than Kevin Durant.
Yeah, we did a whole segment on that.
Yeah.
I just mean, I don't know. I don't know what he's going to be when he goes somewhere. I could see it being great for a Houston or for New York, but I could also see it being just like you said, Brooklyn and Phoenix and flame out. And then what does that do to his reputation? Like this is kind of an important part of his of the end of his story.
Yes,
this better be good and it better work, or else.
Because if the last chapters are like, well, you left Golden State and then you went 4 other places and couldn't figure it out anywhere, that's not a great look.
Rough.
It's not. It's not a great look if this is the way this ends. If he goes somewhere, especially if he ends up in New York or Minnesota, that are kind of they're tailor-made ready, right? They're coming off conference finals. And if you go there and you don't have to gut the team, right? Like you essentially get dropped in as the addition to put that over the top, kind of like what happened in Golden State, and you flame out. Yeah, it certainly is going to be viewed poorly, and I think unfairly to Kevin Durant. He gets labeled as this also ran in Golden State. Look, I'm not saying he's better than Steph Curry. I'm not. But
he was when he was there.
Well, I think
when he was at his career is not Steph Curry's career, and Steph Curry will certainly get remembered more.
Peak basketball player.
When Kevin Durant was in Golden State, the best player on that team, the MVP of both of those finals, was Kevin Durant.
Stephen Curry a better franchise player. Kevin Durant a better basketball.
Steph Curry better career is the best way to put it, like you said.
Yes.
Kevin Durant he might be the best pure basketball player. Outside of LeBron since Jordan.
Yes. People say that he is some people call him the best scorer in NBA history. And he was an underrated rebounder and he was an underrated defender.
He's just
was
awesome.
Phenomenal.
But now, you know what he's doing now too? He ditched the burner and now he's just going right at people on Twitter.
Yeah.
Somebody the other day brought up his legacy, and he's like, "Okay, you want to debate?" And then he just engaged all of Twitter.
Yeah,
for
right
a while.
off. So he's no longer doing it under an alias.
No,
that's
why I said
he's outwardly sensitive now.
He went when he was at Oklahoma City and the MVP and all that. He was like the darling of the sports world, and I don't know. Maybe that was not the real Kevin Durant, and this is. Maybe he was putting on an act there, but. Boy, he just sure seemed to fumble it because he was someone that everyone rooted for and he was so good. And I just don't think he'll ever he will be the most, I don't know, misunderstood. Of his generation, this era, he will be the most, what would you say? Just
like his legacy will be the most complicated or something like that?
Yes. It will be the most complicated and the most underappreciated, of his generation,
and largely due to his own, due to himself,
But I think if he could go to New York, Minnesota, or Houston, and lead an NBA title in the next 2 years, I think it would go light years to kind of silencing that and being the crown jewel on what probably should be a top 12-ish NBA career of all time.